It's time to rev your engines. The Syracuse Nationals proudly presents the Cavalcade of Cars, March 22nd through 23rd at the New York State Fairgrounds. The two-day indoor car show features all the classics, plus lifted trucks, Jeeps, motorcycles, and more. Cavalcade of Cars, CNY.com.
Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome into ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. Matt Lesnick with Izzy Sy, Brooke Kilgore. How are we doing today?
Doing well. A little bit of a rainy day, but better than snow, I guess.
It's
Exactly.
40 degrees
Yeah, I
outside,
know.
too.
Who would have thought?
Which I'm blown away
First time
by.
in 2 weeks I haven't had to wear my Timbs, so feeling really good today.
All right, well that's good because we're gonna start off here previewing men's basketball. They take on NC State tomorrow, coming off 3 straight losses, including a loss at Pitt. It's just been a rough season all around. It's the same stuff.
I feel like we're saying the same things every single week. The team can't shoot, they can't defend, they can't make free throws. It's the same themes week in, week out. Even when we come back on the show 2 weeks later, nothing really changes.
Checks off all the boxes
since
there.
since the last time we were on the show, obviously the Orange on a 3-game losing streak. One of those losses going to Miami, which in my opinion, that was probably rock bottom for the Orange this season. Losing to the worst team in the ACC and giving up 91 points. I feel like that was just the nail in the coffin, honestly, for this year.
Season, yeah.
And you have a big game against NC State tomorrow because if you lose, your ACC tournament prospects get even lower than they have been since the start of the year. Because NC State, they're battling for that 15th and final spot. So the Orange, not making the ACC tournament in Adrian Autry's second year coaching would be an absolute disaster. So I expect them to go all in on tomorrow's game. Whether that gets them the result that they want, I don't know, because we don't know what version of Syracuse will show up at the Dome tomorrow. But it's a big game nonetheless.
I mean, NC State's one of the few teams that sits below Syracuse in the ACC. So yeah, I mean, if they beat them, they take Syracuse's spot. So it's definitely an important one, and they come back home hoping to break a skid. I agree. I expect them to go kind of all in. Yeah,
especially after 8 days off as well.
Exactly.
You had time to get over the Pitt loss. So hopefully the team's engines, Eddie Lampkin, J.J. Starling, and others come out with the right energy and the right attitude.
Something really interesting, too, is the name that we really haven't heard a lot of that really performed in that Pittsburgh game was Chris Bell. I feel like finally kind of coming to fruition. Yep. We can move away from the J.J. Starling topic bar a little bit. He hit a season-high 23 points for Syracuse in that Pittsburgh loss, but it's just... I know, Izzy, you said it already, and I hate that we keep beating this dead horse, but nothing is just really coming out of this team this year. And honestly, 3 games left in this season. Are you guys hoping that they make it to the ACC tournament at this point, or are you guys just ready to move on to men's lacrosse?
Just to save face, I will say just to make the ACC tournament, because literally 15 teams make it, only 3 teams don't. So being one of those 3 teams it's a little problematic. Yeah. And, at least you can hang your hat on something for this year. I know it's not a lot, but at least you can have something to look forward to for next year. But just the regression to the mean for this team. Last year you won 20 games. This year you're probably not going to win 20 games, even if you make the postseason. And getting to 20 wins would require winning the ACC tournament, which is probably lower than 0 chance of happening. I know that's not possible, but this Syracuse team, it's just been the same old things all year. And, like you said, Chris Bell finally showing out 7 threes, 23 points. We've been waiting for that this year, and that's something that, I thought Syracuse would be able to rely upon this year, his shooting and, his improvement. But it's been a season, it's really been a bad year for him. And, we thought he could be an underrated NBA prospect, maybe sneak into that second round in a stacked draft class, but it looks like he's probably going to have to stay in college for another year. And whether or not that's in an orange uniform remains to be seen.
And unfortunately, even though Chris Bell had his best game of the year, it looked like everyone else just didn't show up.
Yes.
On the total, 38% from the field is not going to cut it.
Yeah.
Ever. 42% from 3, which is a lot better than we've seen most games this season, and they hit their free throws when they got to the line, which wasn't too much, only 11 attempts.
They also gave up a lot of free throws. They gave up 24 free throws to Pittsburgh. They had 21 fouls. You had 2 guys with 4 fouls in Lampkin and Chris Bell, and you had multiple guys with 2 fouls or more. So that's something that Syracuse wasn't able to do, especially in the second half. Because in the first half, the Orange looked great. It was 41-34. They were firing it all on cylinders. Both ends of the floor looked promising, and then in the second half, 46-28, just absolutely collapsed on its head, and that's been a theme all year.
Well, it's just also take a look at the slow start and the strong finish that Pittsburgh had. They overcame a 16-point deficit to win that game, putting up 46 points just in the second half. And it's just really crazy to see that they got those 19 rebounds. Again, beating the dead horse. Rebounds. We talk about it with the women's team. We talk about it with the men's team. It just feels like, like late in the season, sometimes teams find those sparks. They get their little bit of mojo and momentum back in, but Syracuse just giving up games where they have the lead. Not really a come-from-behind team anymore.
I mean, you mentioned the rebounds. It's not like Syracuse wasn't going out. They tied in total. They both had 34 rebounds, but I mean, on the defensive end, Pitt slightly edges them out there. It's just overall, it just the second half just didn't go Syracuse's way, and that just cost them.
Yeah, and flipping to the NC State side of things, they obviously lost a lot from last year's team that went all the way to the Final Four. No more DJ Burns, which is probably the biggest loss. But this year it's been a rough year, but that was expected. They didn't really bring in major transfers or major talent, and they lost a lot. So this is kind of a rebuild year for them. But they have Marcus Hill. He's averaging 12 points a game, shooting 47% from the field. You have a Louisville transfer, Brandon Huntley Hatfield. He's averaging about 8 points, 5 boards a game. So he's been pretty solid for them. And this is a team that's on Syracuse's level. And this is a game that I expect them to win, especially at home. And they have to get the job done. That's plain and simple.
I mean, NC State coming off a win against Wake Forest down at home. Paul McNeil in that game going for 24. Dontrez Styles going for 22. Those are two guys who you might want to watch out for in this game. But again, NC State, like you said, having a very disappointing season. They've won 2 out of 3, but before that, they had lost 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row.
Yeah, they lost a lot of games. Some of them were close. They only lost to Duke by 10. They lost to Stanford by 1. That was a gut-wrenching loss. They lost to Virginia Tech by 3, UNC by 2. So these are games where, if the ball bounced, their way a couple times, we're talking about NC State in a whole different light. But at the end of the day, they weren't able to get the job done. They are coming off a good win against Wake Forest, one of the better teams in the ACC this year, and that was a home win. So they're coming in with momentum, and Syracuse is not. So we'll see if the Wolfpack can take advantage of that.
Well, we also have to question, too, you can't really, correlation does not equal causation in this situation, but an 8-day break, we saw it a lot with the men's football team where the bye week would come in and everything would just kind of go south, and it wasn't really impactful. And this is a really play or go home matchup for the Orange. Yes, NC State has not been doing relatively well, but the Orange, when put up against teams with worse records than them, or records that are about average, they still give up a lot of points. The players don't look like they're really coming to show out, and if they can't take this one away, it's the end of the season for them practically.
Yeah, and speaking of that end of the season, when the season ends, that means transfer portal season is going to start heating up, especially after March Madness, going into March Madness. So what are you guys looking for Syracuse to do in the portal this year?
I think, you've got recruits coming in, and those are the spots you're going to fill. You have
Sadiq White,
and Sadiq White. Yeah. It's a matter of filling what's gone. I'll be honest, I don't really expect I hope I'm wrong. I don't really expect Donnie Freeman to be here next year.
Yeah, Donnie Freeman probably won't be here next year.
It's filling his spot. That's what you're really going to look to do.
Yeah.
And again, he missed a lot of time. He missed more than half the season. But it's the effects of that were shown, and you need someone to fill that spot if he does leave.
Yeah, I think the Orange, what they need is a true point guard, a true playmaker, and they tried to fill that with Jaquan Carlos this year. That hasn't really worked out because I feel like J.J. Starling is better as an off-ball guard that can slash, get to the basket, score, not really have to worry about playmaking for others. That's part of his job, but it shouldn't be his primary job. It should be his secondary job. I think looking for a point guard like that will be something that could help this Orange team. Eddie Lampkin, he's going to be gone. So, finding, front court presence, I feel like that will be important in Donnie Freeman as well. So, having, a center that can rim protect, rebound, make layups. I know it sounds very simple, but the Orange haven't had that in a while.
We're still looking
for it. So that's obviously another priority. But obviously bringing in Sadiq White and Kyan will help a lot. Hopefully Elijah Moore comes back as well.
Yes.
So then, and J.J. Starling. So then you'll have a nice guard nucleus for next year. But it's just a matter of filling those forward spots. Power forward, small forward, center. Filling that. And I think that's something that they should go hard after in the portal, because year 3 for Adrian Archie, that's going to be an important year.
Yep.
another year like this is not going to cut it, and we may see some change if the Orange have another year like this next year. So the portal should be a priority.
Well, in terms of going back to your center question there, kind of in the paint, do you see any flashes from Naheem McLeod at all next season?
Well, it's hard to say because he hasn't really had that big role yet.
Got hurt last year.
Yeah, look, he has all the physicals. He's 7'3", 7'4", whatever it is. He's got length, he's got size, but we just haven't seen him in a huge role yet. We don't know what Naheem McLeod is at his peak. Yeah. So that's something that we have to look for. So, bringing him back next year, as a backup, and having somebody else, I feel like that will be good. But also, giving him more opportunity and, prioritizing his development in the offseason should be a key.
Definitely.
We'll see what happens next season. We're going to take a quick break before we do. This hour of Newhouse Afternoon is powered by Drivers Village Cicero. Go to dvoffers.com for more info. Stick with us after the break. We'll talk about some women's basketball on ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon.
That was a killer outro.
Thank you.
I aspire to be that someday.
That was like the cleanest I think I've ever done that.
Oh, men's basketball.
Oh, yeah. Well, women's ain't doing much better, so.
I wish it was the opposite, but.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Exactly.
10 and 17. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, both of them coming off like, again, you lose Deasia Fair, you lose Judah Mintz, but geez.
But yeah, like 10-17 compared to 24 and 8.
Yeah, exactly.
13 and 5 in conference. Like.
Exactly. They lost 4 in a row, including that Duke loss, which was
tragic.
Brutal.
I was really sad about that.
Yeah, they scored 19 in the first half.
Yeah, it was a tough game. I mean, Duke's one of the best defensive teams in the ACC, so.
Giving up 23 turnovers, don't hold to.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. They're turning over 23 to 15. Like,
16 turnovers per game is 7th highest in the ACC.
Yeah, that's a stat to bring up.
Yeah, the second highest was at Boston College in their 51-92 loss.
Oh my God. Yeah, Sophie Burrows and Georgia Woolley shooting a combined 9 for 29.
9 for 29?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, who else are they going to worry about, to be honest?
Yeah, no one else. Well, you had Shy Hawkins and Kira Scott both taking 8 shots, both going 2 for 8.
Yeah, I mean, Duke, great defensive team.
Yeah, 29% from the field.
Yeah, I want to say, yeah.
Duke bench outscored Syracuse's bench by 24 points.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Syracuse's bench 11, 13, 15.
Okay, we're not saying this, but I pull up.
But that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, 0 points in 12 minutes and 1 rebound from Madeline Potts. I remember when we were talking about her and she had that breakout game.
Yeah,
like one of our first shows.
Yeah. 13 points, didn't take a shot. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Or 13 minutes, take a shot.
Because that's your last line of hope.
Yeah. And they only have 2 games left. Buy for as low as $5.
Should we go, guys?
Honestly.
$5.
Go where?
The women's game on Thursday.
Well, it's also a thing, like, what was it, Brent Axe posting about the men's basketball game tickets being $12.
Yeah.
And, like, there was some issue with that because Syracuse Athletics, isn't happy when you're promoting that their game tickets are $12 because nobody's really going.
Right, exactly.
I always love opening up the Snapchat story and seeing it's all like selling men's basketball tickets, selling men's
well, this one's over break, so I guess it kind of make like
that does
$2.
$2?
Oh, well, no, tomorrow's $2.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
For men's? Wait, click it. I want to see if that's like actually valid.
Back in about 30.
$2.
Where?
Corner, but
of course up in the nosebleeds.
Yeah, $2.
What's court like? What's this area?
$8. 19, 18, 26. Like.
Are there courtside ones or no?
106.
Why is it $106 to sit courtside?
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. Matt Lesnick, Izzy Sy, Brooke Kilgore. Going from the men's to the women's team, it's not much better.
Yeah, but this game against one of the best teams in the ACC, and in my opinion, one of the more underrated teams in the country, the Duke Blue Devils. It was an 80-49 loss for the Orange. Sophie Burrows, Georgia Woolley, they struggled in this one. They went 9-for-29 combined, 27 points. So that's obviously not going to get it done. Syracuse, 6 points in the second quarter. 6 points in the second quarter. And Duke, their defense was suffocating all game long. They didn't give up more than 16 in a quarter to the Orange. And that's been a theme for them all year. Duke, they're the second best defense in the ACC, only giving up 58 points per game. And the last 2 years, they've been a really sound defensive squad, and that's carried over this year. Head coach Carol Lawson really instilling that into her team. So, again, a disappointing loss to the Orange, but nothing really to be too upset about because this is one of the better teams in the country.
They are, but that was your fourth straight loss. And again, UNC also one of the best teams in the country. You lost to them by 10. Mm-hmm. So, but the two losses before that, Cal and Stanford. Cal's a decent team, but Stanford was one you were hoping to maybe go in, steal one on the road. But you come back now, you take on Pitt at the Dome to Thursday night. Pitt, another team struggling this season, sit just above Syracuse in the ACC. It's one you can take. Yeah,
it's one you can take, and the Orange, they're going to be fighting for that ACC tournament spot. Again, both teams, that's been a theme, fighting for that last spot in the ACC tournament. So this is going to be a big one for the Orange against a Pitt team that has struggled for most of the year. And then after that, you have a game against Boston College, and they're 5-11 in conference. So you have two opponents that are under 500 in conference play, sort of on your level. So finishing the season strong, that should just be a key for Coach Jack's team.
Well, one thing we also have to talk about, and in most of their big losses where the results were about by 40 or about by double, the turnovers were what sealed the deal. Mm-hmm. The Cuse are currently, they're 16 turnovers per game right now, 7th highest in the ACC. Yeah. And you see it in games like Duke, at Duke, 23 turnovers, the result, 49-80 loss. You see it again at Boston College, it was a 51-92 loss. This team has to find a way to keep their ball on their side of the court, not give up these simple plays. I was working the UNC game on Thursday, and you just saw balls being ripped from the hands of the Orange players, and it was just really, it really gives away that last bit of effort. Syracuse really trying to push for that late comeback against North Carolina last week, and they couldn't because every time they got a chance and an opportunity, the momentum was literally stripped away from them in a sense.
Live ball turnovers have been an issue all year for the Orange, and in basketball, having a live ball turnover is almost a cardinal sin because that leads to the team going the other way. You have a 3-on-2, 4-on-3 fast break, sometimes even a 2-on-1. So that's been an issue for Syracuse, giving up easy baskets in transitions as a result of these live ball turnovers. We saw that against Duke. Duke had a lot of layups at the rim off these turnovers, and that's just something that has been a struggle, that has been a point of emphasis for the Syracuse team all year, but they just haven't been able to execute at the right times. And at 26 points off of turnovers for Duke. So that it was 26-4. So that was the game right there, in my opinion.
I agree. And we saw it affect the players who were the most ball dominant. Georgia Woolley, 5 turnovers, Sophie Burrows, 6 turnovers, and those are the ones who were shooting the ball and had the ball in their hands the most. And it showed in Syracuse's shooting numbers. 29% from the field, 35% from three. as you said, they were just playing suffocating defense, forcing those turnovers, and the outcome shows it.
Yeah, ball pressure, it's been something that they've struggled with, and that's something that Duke is really, really good at, and that's what's going to take them far, in my opinion, in March. And, we're getting really close. So I think these Duke Blue Devils can make a run on both sides.
Well, and you hold two of your top shooters to just 9 points combined together. You turn to your bench, and you're hoping that there's some diversity in the array of them scoring, too, and contributing. Players like Olivia Schmidt and others, you're really hoping to see some kind of presence from them. Listen to this. Kira Scott, 6 points in 18 minutes and only 3 rebounds. Shai Hawkins, 5 points in 16 minutes. And then Madeline Potts, who we spoke of really that first show that we all had together at the start of this semester, really hoping to see some traction and momentum out of her. 0 points in 12 minutes of game played.
She didn't even get to take a shot.
No, she didn't. 1 rebound. That's the only stat line she had.
Yeah, it was just a rough game all around. And, that's something that, you just have to flush. And, you have 2 games left in the season. You still have a chance to make the ACC tournament, so that should be the team's focus. Can't do all in this loss for too long, but they have a chance to finish strong, and that's what they should be looking to do.
That they do. Like you said, 2 games left. You've got Pitt this Thursday, Boston College this Sunday. Those 2 both at the Dome, hoping you can steal some at the end of the season, maybe have some momentum going into the ACC tournament. If you win those, obviously, you're in the tournament. So hopefully you can pry those wins and make some sort of run.
Yeah, and, I'm going to have the same question that I have for the men's side. What are you guys looking for the women's team to do in the portal this year?
I hate to say that they need just that standout shooter, because you don't want them to fall into this what is the word? You don't want them to fall into this pattern of always relying on one person to make the dent, to make the plays, to get them to the NCAA tournament and stride far, but they need it. It's clear that this team is either too young to really know how to come together and mesh, like we're seeing a little bit with the men's team, but they're just struggling enough to a point where sometimes you look at it and you're just kind of like, what is going on? You all are exceptional basketball players. There's no reason these points shouldn't be put up. Yes, you are playing the number 11 team in the country and then the number 9 team in the country in UNC, but losing by almost half is just unacceptable when you have a bench that should be shooting stronger, when you're giving up all these turnovers. I feel like they need that leader again that they had in DeAsia Fair.
Yeah, I'll take it a step further. I don't think it's just a standout shooter. They need like an offensive engine. That's what they need. That's what they need. And that's what DeAsia Fair was. And again, we've been talking about all year, they miss her a lot, especially in these close games where games are tight and you need a basket. What did DeAsia Fair do? She got you that basket. Yep. So looking for somebody in the transfer portal, maybe 1-2 players that can do that for you, because like you said, relying on one player is very problematic, and there haven't been a lot of teams in the last few years that have relied on just one player to take them to the national championship. Even Caitlin Clark with Iowa, she wasn't able to do it. She came up short in the national championship. So they need 1 to 2 players that, can take care of the offensive load and make those around them better. So I think that's, should be their transfer portal priority.
I mean, the best teams, as you said, are the ones that mesh together and are able to coexist and put a group out there that can play winning basketball. And it doesn't feel like this group is meshing like that, like you said. Yeah. So it just getting players who are going to work well with what you already have.
Yeah, but with that said, we did expect some growing pains this year for this women's team. And, playing against one of the better teams in the country, this is expected to happen. But again, Coach Leggett-Jack, players want to play for her. Players will play hard for her. So I have no doubts that she'll be able to get impactful transfers, a nice recruiting class. Hopefully, 25-26 is a good year for them.
Well, definitely. And also under the rim, too, your centers are performing relatively well. I mean, Isabel Vergel sitting right there on courtside, you could see they're fighting with tenacity. Yeah. They really want this to change for whatever reason. And, you sit there in the post-game conference and Felicia Leggett-Jack really just saying they're trying to find their story and they're trying to figure out what works. I honestly believe that. I'm ready to go put on my uniform and go shoot some baskets for her. She's convincing me. But you can see they're still out there trying to fight, but it's just the results aren't happening. Funny story, I was actually courtside for that game, and Isabel Vergel actually did run into me because she was trying to chase one of those off the basket balls, and you could just tell.
That tenacity
it's the tenacity, and she gets right back up after apologizing. Of course, she would never just run someone over and leave them there, and then was down the court already. Like, you can tell these women really want to keep succeeding. It's just not clicking for them.
And that's an encouraging sign, when players are still going to battle for their coach.
Yes.
And, that's something that in a lost season, that's something that you need to see, especially in a rebuilding year. Players still bought in, players still, playing hard, because the worst thing you can have is players that give up on their coach.
Yes. And we've seen it before.
We've seen it all across sports. So we can name many examples: NFL, NBA, MLB. We can see that all across sports. So the fact that this women's team is still doing that, that's encouraging to me.
Yeah, and we'll see what they end up doing in the transfer portal and with the recruits they bring in. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about some spring training. Stick with us on ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The Dodgers have signed.
Here we go. All right.
Mets play the Astros, and seeing Christian Walker in an Astros jersey is a sin. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the Mets are winning the World Series.
Healthy, I don't know.
I've seen enough.
I've seen enough. Clay Holmes is an ace.
Raise the banner.
Yep, raise the banner. Juan Soto MVP. Yeah, the lineup's going to have to carry for most of the season.
Well, now Manaya's out for a little bit.
A couple weeks, yeah.
I didn't really expect Mondes to be anything special, but he's out for a while.
Yeah. I don't think Manaya's going to be out that long from what
it'll be.
They're shutting him down for like 2 weeks, I think. Opening days end of March. So I
think they'll keep him out for like a week into the season.
Yeah. I think he'll miss like his first one or two turns in his rotation. Yeah, in the rotation.
Yep.
But I don't know. Definitely gonna need to get another pitcher though at some point. I don't know who though.
Yeah, at this point it's like
I don't know who you can.
No one's out there.
Yeah, no one's out there right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, they just have so many. It's always early season, like aces get hurt, and Tyler McGill always ends up in the rotation somehow.
Yeah,
Brett Beatty hit a home run.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's good. That's a good sign.
Hopefully.
We need the bat this year from him.
How much is he gonna play though?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm so excited. I've got my trivia.
There we go.
There.
Yeah, because Vientos is going to be
Vientos will be at third.
Pete's
Lindor
at
short.
first.
Pete's at first, and you're gonna, I guess, McNeil at second until Luis takes his spot.
Yeah, which will be soon, hopefully. Luis was really good last year.
You want me to open so I can toss it to you guys to talk about spring training?
Perfect.
Do you want to start with the Mets or the Yankees?
It doesn't matter.
I'll go Mets, and then you guys can transition to the Yankees.
I don't even. The biggest news with the Yankees is the facial hair policy.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yay, woohoo. Players can grow their facial hair out. About time, bro.
No, dude, actually.
Tradition, I guess.
No. I never understood it. That being said, it gave us when you can walk across water, you can have a long beard or you can have a hair. Oh my God, long hair and a beard.
I get what you were trying to say.
Yeah. Steinbrenner was nuts, but he had his fastballs at the end.
What is that?
Yeah.
Ebex. Like these Google Docs things are so interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Ebex.
I don't know what that is.
Is that like a deer? You're anonymous leaver.
I think you're ferret then.
I'm ferret.
Yeah.
That's so rude. Oh my God. Oh.
It's like a goat.
Okay.
Baby
That's pretty cool.
Labra.
I'm so sad I can't go to spring training this break.
Oh yeah.
Oh, heartbroken.
Wait, I wanted to talk about at the end, the Luka playing his team tonight, former team. Yeah.
Should we drop that super quick?
We could drop that somewhere after.
D-block.
Yeah.
Around the hill.
Luka plays his former team, scoring.
What Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back inside our studios here on ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. Brooke Kilgore alongside Matt Lesnick and Izzy Tsai. Guys, spring training is in full swing, and I mean that pun intended 100%.
Full swing for Juan Soto.
Yeah, seriously. And that kind of ties straight into what we want to talk about. The Mets go on today, and they're taking on the Astros, which breaks my heart seeing Christian Walker in those colors. Not a big fan, but I just want to know, guys, what are we seeing? A lot of injuries are plaguing the Mets right now.
Yeah, the rotation. Frankie Montas is going to start the year on the injured list. Sean Manaea shut down for the next couple of weeks, so those are two guys that are supposed to be key contributors for the rotation. That'll be out for a little bit, but the Mets' big signing, Juan Soto, he got off to a hot start, first at-bat, home run. So, hopefully a sign of things to come for the Mets this year, Matt.
I hope so. I mean, this is...
It's going to be hard to top last year, I'm not going to lie.
It is. I mean, but you also lost one of your best pitchers. I mean, obviously you add Juan Soto, but you're already seeing the usual Mets ace is injured to start the year.
And Tyler McGill
will make his way into the rotation. Clay Holmes is your third starter right now. But, look, Sean Manaea is your number 2 starter usually. I mean, he
when
gets
everybody's
hurt.
healthy.
When everyone's healthy, Sean Manaea is your number 2 starter. He's going to miss probably a couple weeks to start the season. I'm not as worried as some may be.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we were talking about it during the break. He's one of, I mean, it's not going to be a long-term thing, hopefully, but it always turns into one with the Mets. But...
it only looks like he's going to miss a couple weeks of the season, so probably 1 to 2 starts. So we'll see when he comes back. But like you said, he's expected to be your second best arm this year, coming off an amazing second half of the year last year where he changed his delivery and was able, to pitch well in the postseason until his last start where it looked like he ran out of gas. But again, he's going to be an important piece for the Mets. Hopefully they can get him back soon. But what I'm excited about for this rotation in general is hopefully a full year of Kodai Senga, because last year he was supposed to be your ace.
We got 1 start.
And he only pitched 5 innings. And then we only saw him in the bullpen in the postseason.
Where he was very clearly not 100%.
Yeah, where he was not 100%, where he was shaky. He just wanted to be out there. But hopefully, full off season of rest and recovery, will be good for him, because he's going to have to be your number 1 starter if the Mets want to reach their championship aspirations.
And he has ace-like stuff.
He does.
We saw it in that first season where some people were like, oh, it's a different kind of baseball, whatever, we'll see.
But he really figured it out.
He figured it out, and he's already... I'm expecting big things. I mean, you look at the rest of the rotation. Of course, Montas is going to be out a few weeks, which I wasn't too crazy about the signing to begin with. But you're hoping David Peterson can continue the strong season he had last year.
Yes.
And maybe even build upon it.
Yeah.
Because what we saw from him last year was a breakout.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Sub 3 ERA.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll see if Clay Holmes can make that transition to a starter. See what that entails, because he looked good in that first spring training start. So hopefully he can continue and build upon that. And then, of course, we're not really sure what the rest of that rotation is going to look like.
Yeah, you got Paul Blackburn, Griffin Canning, Tyler McGill, like we just said. So those guys are going to be rotating from the 5 and 6 spots, especially until Manaea comes back.
Yeah.
But then in the bullpen, you have Edwin Diaz, you have Stanek coming back, Reed Garrett, all those guys.
Jose Budo's the one I'm really looking forward to. I mean, he did have some struggles in the postseason, but he really, once he took on that bullpen role last year, even as a starter last year, he looked decent. But once he became that setup man, he was lights out. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. He was a good long reliever in the long run for the Mets. So you signed A.J. Minter as well, so hopefully he's going to put a dent in things. But overall, I'm excited. I think the bullpen is a big step up from where you were a couple of years ago. And even early last season, it looked a lot better than the beginning of last season. I mean, you've got some other guys coming back from injury now. I'm excited for this Mets team.
Yeah, I am as well. But as we've seen in the past, when a Mets team has expectations, things don't really go well, but fingers crossed that changes this year.
I mean, last year we both said 78 wins, and look what had happened.
Last year's team was fun, especially with the no expectations, and the second half of the year, just one of the better teams in baseball, 2 games away from the World Series, so continuing to build upon that with your big signing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we are going to stay in the Grapefruit League. The New York Yankees tied 4-4 with the Minnesota Twins in the top of the 6th, 2 outs right now. Guys, the Yankees also on a bit of a hot streak so far. We're still hearing some rumors about where their season is headed. Of course, spring training is never officially, the result of what the regular season is going to look like. You see that with the Dodgers a lot and a lot of the World Series teams. But what are you guys seeing from the Yankees?
Well, I think the biggest news with them is they finally got rid of that stupid facial hair policy that we've been begging for years. So now we're going to see some bearded Yankee players for the first time ever.
Who's growing the best beard, though, Izzy? We have to ask.
Oh, Devin Williams.
Yeah,
he had it before. They made him 100%. Shave.
I'm 99% sure he was the driving force of changing this policy.
They made him shave.
Yeah.
And then it was so bad they had to change the policy.
Yeah, exactly. No, but on a serious note, glad that the Yankees are keeping up with the times, and getting rid of that tradition. I wasn't really a fan of it in the first place. Glad that they were able to change it. But they do have some new additions this year. Yes, they lost Juan Soto, but you bring in Cody Bellinger, you sign Max Fried, you bring in Devin Williams, one of the best closers in baseball for the last few years.
Paul Goldschmidt on a flyer.
Yeah, Paul Goldschmidt on a flyer deal. Hopefully he can regain his form after a down year last year. So this is a deeper Yankees team, in my opinion, than they were a year ago. Hopefully the pitching staff can be strong. You still have Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, but he didn't really have a great first spring training start.
Yeah, he was a little shaky.
So that's a little discouraging, but again, he'll probably figure it out. But this is a very, very good Yankee squad, a very strong team. They're going to be another strong player in the AL, so they have a lot to look forward to.
And it's a team that's coming off a World Series berth. Yes, you lose one of the two best players in one of the two. Okay, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, one of the best players in baseball is on the other side of the city right now. Yes.
Yeah, but they brought in a lot of big additions. That Max Fried contract, we'll see how that goes in the first few years because again, he's a 31-year-old pitcher.
31-year-old pitcher.
It's an 8-year contract.
Yeah, so
we'll see how that goes within. I think the first couple years is where you're focusing the most, but. I think they have what it takes to get back there. It's a matter of can anyone beat the Dodgers once they get there.
Yeah, exactly. But again, I expect them to be at the top of the AL East, especially with a lot of teams in that division having a lot of question marks. So I think that the Yankees will be able to take advantage of that and have another strong season.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, I have to ask you, how much do you know about spring training?
We'll see.
Yeah. I guess we'll see.
Okay. Well, we have some trivia. It's trivia time again. That's our becoming our annual C Block tradition here on Newhouse Afternoon. So I've got a couple questions for you guys. They're a little unique, so it's totally fine if you don't get it.
Okay.
First question for you guys: how did the Grapefruit League get its name?
Okay.
I'm going to turn my computer so you can't see it. It's Florida, there's a specific legend that they have about it.
Yeah, the legend I don't know.
I got no idea.
Yeah. All right.
This is above my pay grade.
A promotional stunt. The Brooklyn Dodgers, the Brooklyn Dodgers arranged to have a local pilot fly over the stadium during spring training and drop a baseball from 500 feet. Except they don't really know if he forgot the baseball or he just decided that the grapefruit would be funny instead. He drops the grapefruit above and the catcher cannot put it in his mitt, and someone jokes at him and goes, he wasn't able to cut it in the Grapefruit League. So they decided that they're going to name it the Grapefruit League.
Wow.
At least that's how legend has it.
I would have never known that.
No? Okay.
No.
Yeah,
there you go. Obscure legends from this random website online.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. How many or what stadiums do some of the Cactus League teams share?
What stadiums?
That's
in Arizona. So
yes, we're flipping back and forth.
What stadiums do they share?
Yes, and what teams are associated with those stadiums?
I know this. It's like it's bad. I don't.
Yeah, you got this one, bro. I believe in you.
Very encouragingly.
I can give you one of the teams and maybe see if that clicks. Okay. The Reds.
The Reds? Okay. I'm assuming the Diamondbacks is...
No. Cleveland. With Cleveland.
That would make sense.
Goodyear Ballpark in Goodyear, Arizona.
Got it.
The Dodgers.
Okay. Padres?
White Sox.
The
Mariners share Peoria Stadium. Yep.
Okay.
With the Padres. It's actually very beautiful. I love it very much.
Okay.
The Rockies.
Okay, Dodgers were with the...
Is it an NL or an AL? I'm assuming AL team.
Is it an... Okay.
AL team.
It's an AL team.
I'm trying to think who's in...
Tigers?
Wait, I may have read that wrong.
Oh.
The Rockies.
No, the Rockies, who are they sharing? They're sharing with an AL team.
That's embarrassing. Sorry.
You're good. The Rockies are... my guess is the Tigers.
Sure.
Diamondbacks.
Okay, there
Diamondbacks
we
in Scottsdale.
I was trying to do the NL, AL, like it's always a pattern or something, but
the Rangers. This is your last one.
Rangers, okay. So they probably should with an NL team.
I'm trying to think who's in the Cactus League. That's like, I'll say
Diamondbacks, Cubs, White Sox, Reds, Indians,
I'll say
Rockies, Royals, Angels, Dodgers, Brewers, A's, Padres, Giants, Mariners, and Rangers.
I'll say the Brewers.
Yeah, I'll go Brewers too.
Okay, the Royals.
Okay.
Surprise Stadium.
All
right, and your last one before we conclude. What was the last West Coast team to train in the Grapefruit League?
How long ago was it?
2010.
2010. I'll say the Astros.
The Astros, okay.
I know it's not are we saying West Coast or like Western Division?
They were in the West Coast and they played in the Grapefruit.
They were in the West Coast. Okay, I'm gonna go.
So the Astros aren't in the West Coast.
I'm gonna go Giants. I'm gonna go Giants. I'll go Giants.
Giants.
You're in the right state, Izzy.
Okay, I'll say the A's.
Okay. The A's?
Yeah.
It's actually the Dodgers.
Damn.
Wow.
I was going to be my next guess.
I love this
when you said
game.
right state, I was like, damn. All right.
That was the second one. Well, we're going to take our last break here on Newhouse Afternoon. You're listening on ESPN 97.7. See you in a bit.
Hey, this is former Syracuse basketball player Tom.
Awesome.
All clear? Period. It's kind of like eerie when they just cut the noise. Like I know that's what they do, but I'm used to just being able to hear all the commercials. So
right, exactly.
It's a little quiet. Can you like acapella for us? What's your favorite song right now? So boring.
No, I understand. I'm kind of the same way.
Because a lot of choices come to the mind.
It changes so much.
Yeah. It's like my favorite song might be different in 20 minutes.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
like
well, what is it in this exact moment before it changes? Do you know Unwritten? Should we get him to sing Unwritten? Who sings that song? There you go. Natasha
Bergenfield, yeah. Benningfield.
Here, do you want the full lyrics so you can sing? Who can beatbox? We need like a
oh my god. There was a kid I knew in high school who beatboxed, and it was like it was interesting.
That's actually sick.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
We're not using instruments.
Nope. Straight hands.
Only you can let it. No one else. No one else. Speak the words on your lips. Come on, Izzy. You know you want to sing.
This is excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent content.
That's what we're known for.
I'm actually so excited for Lakers maps, dude. I'm so
It's
excited.
going to be such a good game.
I'm so excited.
Luka's going to
drop
tear them.
50, 10, and 17. Oh, man. It's going to be great.
Oh, yeah. Delaney Schweitzer's coming back.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She transferred to Northwestern. Yep. So
Oh, cool.
tonight. Oh my gosh, wait, I forgot what day it was for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, it's been a long Tuesday.
Yeah.
Can you tell?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Treat yourself in words unspoken. Do you guys live at 6 tonight?
I don't.
Do you do the now or live at 6?
I do the now.
Oh.
I'm on Fridays. Yeah. It's going.
Today is way up begin. Oh, my dad. Apparently my dad's listening and he just sent me the rest is still in there. Hi, Dad. Do we have any comments? I feel like we should look at that.
We do not. It's all just the
Wow.
promotions.
Sick.
Great.
It's okay. forgive people.
Yeah, me too.
No one wants to hear acapella.
I don't understand why.
Should do like one of those, like drop $5 in the chat and we'll sing whatever song you want.
God, that could go so bad.
It could.
That's going to be stuck in your head like the entire day.
Oh, it is. I just know it. Are you guys going to the Scott Pioli thing tomorrow?
What time is it again?
5.
I can't.
Or 6. No, it's 6. Oh, wait. It is 6. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I might be able to. I don't know. Might have to do stuff at 5 and 6 tomorrow.
He's talking about women in sports media.
I saw that.
I'm like, I'm going to be there.
You got to. I'm so hungry.
You got 10 minutes. You can do it.
I think I can.
You got this.
I don't know what I'm going to get, but
97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back inside our studios. You're listening to ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. And if you're just tuning in, Matt Lesnick, Izzy Sy, and I were just trying to do an a cappella rendition of Unwritten, guys. It was actually pretty good.
No, I'm not going to.
No,
I was going to say, I don't think Izzy Sy was.
I was going to say, that's you too.
Okay.
Yeah, I was not
Izzy's here by association,
association, yeah.
But a lot has been going on around the Hill, and it would be horrible of us to not talk about some of the accomplishments, especially with the women's side of things. Women's ice hockey is headed to the semifinals of the AHA playoffs for the first time in a couple of years, and really exciting to see that home quarterfinal game happen here against Robert Morrison. It was an overtime victory, 3-2. Beautiful pass off the end by goaltender Darcy to Peyton Armstrong, who just slid it right past Robert Morris.
Well, it's good to see a Syracuse team go to the postseason.
Yes.
We're not used
to that right now, are we?
No, but that looked like a thrilling win. But yeah, no, women's ice hockey, shout out them. Nice little turnaround that they've had. So going to the playoffs, very, very good for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's been a season. They have a losing record, but they take on Robert Morris. They get the win. They go play Mercyhurst this Thursday in Erie.
Yep.
So that'll be, you got to go on the road trip.
Canal, I guess.
Yeah,
I've never been to Erie, so.
I don't know what's there, but
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this Thursday, game 2, on this Friday, and then, this Friday, game 1, Saturday, game 2, and Sunday, game 3.
Best of 3 series, always exciting to see, giving multiple opportunities to really pull away. If they just secure that 2-game deal, they will be on it. The Orange penalty kill was really solid in that game, too. They shut down the Colonials on both of their power play chances, which is really big, and Syracuse capitalized on 50% of its power play opportunities. So it's really good, just seeing women's sports kind of dominating here too. We also have some stuff to talk about in terms of softball. They are off to a blazing start, to say the least. 12-2 coming off a loss to 9th-ranked Georgia. Of course, the ranked teams are always going to be a bit dicey, but I was talking to one of the softball catchers, I'm not going to say who, and she told me that they were really holding strong, kind of scared the Georgia head coach out there a little bit because it looked like Syracuse was going to run away with that win.
Right.
Yeah, no, 12-2, obviously a great start to the year. The Classic's going to be big for them, to see, what this team's really made of. But yeah, no, it was a tough game against Georgia, but they'll probably bounce back. 12-2 is you can't complain about that in any sport, and it doesn't matter. So it's a great start to the year for them for sure.
I mean, you're led by Madeline Lopez, who's hitting .489 right now with an 1180 OPS, slugging .622, which those numbers are just incredible.
Unfathomable. The one thing, though, is we're not going to see Syracuse softball back here in action until March 19th when they open up the season with their Niagara doubleheader that day. Both of those games on Wednesday, time still to be announced. That's kind of the downside of playing, outdoor sports here in Syracuse, New York.
Not
and
much
you're a spring
really
team.
There.
Yeah, you're kind of looking outside like this weather potentially may be a little bit better than the snow we've been seeing, but the snow's coming back relatively soon. So they do take their time.
Don't say that.
Izzy's leaving right now as I say that. But they're going to spend some time out on the coast, Stanford, at the beginning of March, and then playing some Duke softball as well. But we will see them towards the middle half of March, which is really exciting. So
Yeah,
exactly.
But moving on, men's lacrosse, they play Utah this Saturday. Back-to-back losses for this team. 2 tough games. You lose to Maryland 11-7. Then you lose to Harvard 15-14. That was a heartbreaker. Tough loss. But they've played 3 straight top 20 opponents or whatever it is. So we knew this was going to be a tough schedule to start the year. But just missed opportunities has just been the theme of the team for this year.
2 teams that were ranked underneath you, may I add. Maryland was really 6th place. Harvard still sitting in that 15th place as of today. And you're giving up these big losses. I mean, the Harvard game back-to-back. It felt like any time that they found the back of the net, just got past the netminder, it felt like Harvard had an immediate response. And it was a great high-scoring game if you love those types of atmospheres, but just a heartbreaking one that really didn't need to happen in that sense.
Yeah, and, again, they, missed a lot of opportunities, especially off face-offs. They weren't able to capitalize off of that. But, again, we knew this was going to be a gauntlet of a schedule.
Yes.
So, and it does get a little bit easier, as they head into midseason and close the season. But, this team, they want to be peaking at the right time. You don't want to be peaking at the beginning of the year. So now they know what they need to work on. Now they know, what are the shortcomings of the team, what Gary Gate wants to fix. So I think they'll be fine. I don't think we have to panic about men's lacrosse right now.
I'm not going to call it a freebie, but you take on
Careful
Utah.
with that, yeah.
I'm never going to call anything a freebie.
It's
on the road, and you can't take any opponent for granted. And the key should be bouncing back. You should, wipe that loss out of your mind, and go on the road and get a good win.
And then following that, next Sunday, you take on Johns Hopkins. That's a big game.
You do get a week to prepare for that game as well, so that'll be key for them.
Yeah, definitely. It just depends on if they're going to keep connecting. I mean, Joey Spallino and Hiltz have just been such a deadly duo. And then you've seen a lot of new risers up and coming, but also just defending your creases correctly. We really need to see a big save percentage there in terms of Syracuse's goaltending. And kind of our last topic here, we're going to flip it to the other side. Women's lacrosse. Delaney Schweitzer is making her homecoming tonight as she wears purple. We're not used to seeing that color on her. She used to be a part of the Orange program until she headed into the transfer portal this past offseason to Northwestern, and Northwestern's doing pretty good this year.
Yeah, they are. And the women's team for Syracuse coming off a tough loss to North Carolina, albeit North Carolina, number 2 team in the country. Yeah. So one of the better
Give
teams.
Them some grace, yes.
The national championship favorite. So, nothing to really hang your hat off there. I believe they had 8 different players score a goal. So, the Tar Heel attack was really, really good. But, I expect the Orange to bounce back tonight against Northwestern, against a familiar face in Schweitzer. Northwestern is number 3 in the country. So that's going to be another tough game. And then you have number 14 Clemson right after that. So that's
going to say, you want to talk about a gauntlet of a schedule.
Yeah,
this is what you're looking at.
You got 3 straight top 15 matchups on the docket. So how does Syracuse respond? I think they will respond tonight. I don't know if they'll be able to get the win. It's going to be a tough game. Northwestern's a really good program. I'm expecting fireworks.
Yeah, it should be really exciting to see. Last time Syracuse battled Northwestern, they took away 18-15 victory with those 3 straight goals to kind of close out that game. So it's going to be very intense. We're going to see a lot of hopefully good goal net minding on both sides of the docket. But other than that, a lot of great things happening this weekend. We've got that doubleheader coming up on Saturday. That's going to be a really, really busy day.
Oh, yeah.
So our friends in sports broadcasting are going to be a little up in arms on Saturday.
They'll be occupied for sure.
They definitely will. But just a quick recap of your upcoming schedule tonight. Women's lacrosse taking on Northwestern. Tomorrow, men's basketball welcoming NC State into the JMA Wireless Dome. Women's basketball on Thursday welcoming in Pittsburgh. Softball on the road at Delaware. Friday's a little bit busy. We've got softball at Quinnipiac, tennis at home here against Miami. Women's ice hockey starts their first of 3 games against Mercyhurst in the playoffs. Softball playing Delaware. And then Saturday, if you take a look at the schedule, it's got 6 games. You've got your pick of what SU sports you want to support.
A little bit of something for everybody.
Seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, just to close the show here, big game in the NBA tonight. Mavs Lakers.
Yeah, he had to fit that in.
Luka Doncic plays. It's a national event. It's a national event. This is very, very important. No, but Luka Doncic plays his former team, the Mavericks, for the first time tonight. For those of you who somehow don't know, Luka Doncic is now a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, which is something I'd never expected to say in my life. What are you expecting from tonight's game, Matt?
I'm expecting Luka to just drop 50. This is going to be the greatest revenge game, I think, in sports history.
Yeah, it's the most highly anticipated revenge game in sports history. This was a guy that was supposed to have his statue next to Dirk with the Dallas Mavericks, and
now he's being censored.
They traded him in the middle of the night in February to start off, the NBA second half of the year, and he had a great game last time out against Denver. He had a near 30-point triple-double, so it looks like he's on his way back. And this Lakers team, they're playing their best ball of the year as well. So I think it's going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it. 10 p.m. on TNT for those who want to tune in.
I'm like this is like I don't think I've ever been more shocked at a trade than that.
Called my dad at midnight. He gave him a heart attack. In his words,
that happened apparently. My dad was on the phone with my brother. I didn't see it until about an hour after, and my dad had texted me, and he goes, "I just talked to your brother for 15 minutes about the Luka trade," and I'm thinking, "What Luka trade?" But that's gonna do it for this episode of Newhouse Afternoon. Stay tuned for the sports show with Cody Mack. But I'm Matt Lesnick along with Brooke Kilgore, Izzy Tsai. Thank you for tuning in.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye-bye.